Hello and welcome back to today's update on game dev. I didn't stream today, but I did do quite a bit of work. It was a little dull. It's probably a good decision I didn't broadcast at all. But what I've come up with is my finished list of names, at least for the British and the British characters, and many of the international ones are now sorted out as well. But we'll get to that in a second. But what I think is interesting, firstly, I populated these all into a game file, which will allow the game to pick out and randomly generate some names. Where I've done it, there's one surname, and then attached to it, there'll be two male names and two female names assigned essentially at random. So there might be some weird sums. I've got a Troy Robinson in here, a Stanley Robinson, a Savannah Robinson. That could happen. Kirsten Robinson. Okay. These are all supposed to be British, and I think that's okay. Reuben Clark. Yeah, I think that's all right. Charlie Clark. So, general principles I've been following in terms of trying to name things. Generally speaking, you don't want to have a forename and a surname with both start with the same letter. That's a little bit onomatopoeic. It's a bit odd. So I'll probably go and change this Charlie Clark to just swap out the Charlie for someone else for a different name, maybe John. So John Clark and Charlie Kelly. That sounds a little bit better. For international names, I've been avoiding anything that's got an explicitly religious structure. So Muhammad being the main one, and any sort of variations on Muhammad. Also things like Gabriel and I think Abdul has very specific religious connotations within Islam that I just don't want to have to deal with. So those are being excluded. And in general, I'm trying to pick names which are very distinctive when I'm looking at international names. So, for example, I'll scroll down here to the Iranian names, and these are sort of very distinctive. They're certainly not common names you would see in Britain. And I've sort of combined them together so you get this sort of slightly, gives a very clear impression of diversity is the point, which is the point of the exercise. Now, if you're being strictly fair, what I've ended up with, you might argue, is a series of stereotype names. Because typically, if, for example, your name was Nard, for example, which apparently is a common Iranian boy's name, you would probably pick up if you came to live in a British culture, you would probably choose to pick up a British or an anglicized version of that name to use instead. But I think it's more authentic to leave it in here. It's going to give us, again, that greater impression of diversity, a greater range of characters. And if you were to take that and create a British name version, so that would be like Norman, I guess, or something like that, you'd end up, we're trimming down the range of names we can have. We're increasing the chances that we're ending up with two characters with the same name, which is one of my core objectives to avoid. So, in fact, when I did my British, Scottish, and Welsh names, I have 160 different boys' names, 160 different girls' names, all of which are unique. They're not different spellings of each other. And the point of that is so that when you get these characters populating in game, they're all going to have distinct names that will hopefully make them a little bit more memorable. Anyway, so that's what I worked on today. I think that's good progress. It's something I've wanted to get finished for a while now. There's still a few international names that I still need to fill in. But for now, I think I'm going to progress onto something else for tomorrow's development stream. But I hope you found that interesting. I suppose I should ask you to like and subscribe. But yeah, whatever you want to do. Thanks all.